Three, two, one. Three, two, one. Are we live? God damn right we're live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are. Here we are, or something like that, right? Probably turn the rest of my stuff down, huh? The big event. The big event is here. We are we're completely done with we're p- completely done. Hey, what's going on, Jessica? Welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Tuesday or Tales Tuesday Tales. Yeah, I think that's what we're calling it now. So yeah, we're look, Kevin, how you doing? Bobby, how we doing, brother? Welcome everybody. So we're I've decided to stop telling scary stories, and that's not a forever thing. Hey Beth, it's not a forever thing. I'm just gonna be taking a break from telling horror stories. For one reason is I have read you guys all of my all of my published work as far as horror stories go. So so yeah. Um Good evening, Tom. Welcome, welcome. Sorry I missed you while you were up here. Um yeah, so I decided to stop telling horror stories, and I didn't know what I was going to tell you next because I don't really have anything published except for a couple of books of poetry, and that could get old. I'd have to fill up an hour of poetry. So you should be able to sleep tonight, Kev. Yeah, yeah. So, um, there is so I decided to do. I've been working on this book, um, called The Ballad of Broken Bird. It did not start out uh with that title. The book actually started. I was writing three different books at the same time, and one was called Love is Irrelevant, and the other one was called Growing Fond of Kerouac, and the other one I think was called Fuck Cancer. And I realized all three of those stories were telling the same exact story with the same exact guy, which was me, basically. And I said I should put all this stuff together and put it into one book. And so I started doing that, and I've been working on this book for probably, or I should say, manuscript. It's not published yet. I've been working on it for ooh, a good 9, 10 years. Well, probably longer than that. So I started working on it when I was living in Fairmont. So yeah, much longer than that. 12, 15 years I've been working on this thing. Um, Anyhow, this book is you know, I'm gonna admit that I am a little scared to read it to you guys. It's kind of like when you write a song and you think you got a good song, and you put it down and you play it and you sing it, and the first night that you put it down, you're just like, oh man, this is an awesome song. And then you play it again, and then you're like, going, oh my god, this is like the sappiest piece of crap I've ever heard, and then you throw it away. I can't tell you how many of those songs I've written. Um, this is a piece of serious fiction. Um, a lot of the things that happen in this book have really happened in my life. I mean, some of them are a little fantastic, but the places are places that I have been, and and the people that you meet in this story are people that I've met along my life, that had changed my life significantly, and and so they got a part in the book, and so I hope you guys will enjoy this one. This is a huge, it's a huge chunk of my life, and a huge chunk of my personality is in this is in this story. So um, so here I am taking a big risk and letting you guys listen to serious story that I've written, I am always, 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 always welcome. Um, I welcome critiques, and if there's something that you guys think you might want to see changed or something, either throw it in the comments or message me um, what you what you guys think. So and don't worry about me losing my mind because I'll be all right with that. Other good things that are happening is I got my heart monitor off today, so now I can take a shower instead of taking a bath. Or actually, I've been taking sink baths, and yeah, I feel like a, a homeless guy, like taking a bathroom in a sink at a truck stop. So, but yeah, so I got that taken off. I go see my cardiologist tomorrow. Sorry to Badger B Fluff on the serious moment. Yeah, no worries. Welcome, Steph. Good to see you. Um, so yeah, there's so I get to see my cardiologist tomorrow, and then I go see my cancer doctor. Well, actually, I take my CT scans and get some blood work done. It's that yearly thing you got to do every time that you have cancer in your life. You got to go get checked every year, and so there's no scare. Um, Hopefully not. I get nervous at every CT I have to take because you always think, oh man, it might come back. I've had it 3 times. No, twice. I've had cancer twice, and some questionable stuff with colonoscopy, but that they get rid of that pretty quick. So anyhow, and that's kind of what this story is about too, as you'll find out. So, um, I also I was getting a lot of interference on my equipment here for the studio, and so I moved where I broadcast from, and now I'm sitting away from any electronics, and I also don't have shit attached to my heart either, so that probably helps. Mexican Coke. All right, so because this is a manuscript, I'm reading from a different format than I'm used to, and also since it is not published yet, it is also I need to share with you that it is also not finished yet. So the book is still kind of in limbo. I've been touching it up here and there, and actually I touched up this chapter before tonight, and then I'm hoping that this exercise not only prompts me to finish this book, but it also helps me edit it as well as we go along. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the response I got um, on the invites. I wanted to make sure that everybody got invited to this one because I know my horror stuff isn't for everybody. Um, and I know there was a lot of people out there that wanted to hear this story when it was published. Well, I'm doing you a favor, and you're hearing it before it gets published, well, before it's actually done. So, anyhow, enough jibber jabber. Been jabbering for 10 minutes, so let's get into the story. And if we got time afterwards, we will chat a little bit more after that. All right. So buckle in. You got your popcorn. If you got your sweetie or a puppy dog that you like to cuddle up with, some like to cuddle up with cats. I like my little boo boo kitty. So I'm cuddling up with my Coca Cola. Coca Cola. Just in case anybody wanted to sponsor this broadcast. All right. Thanks, Bobby. Thank you very much. Here we go. The Ballad of Broken Bird by Bradley L. Bodeker. Man, wow. There's so many things to do, so many things to write. how to even begin to get it all down and without modified restraints, all hung up on like literary inhibitions and grammatical fears. Jack Kerouac on the road. Hey man, everything we ever dreamed about is in that teardrop gas tank, and you've got a stranger over there pouring gasoline all over it. Easy Rider. Chapter 1. If you're reading this, I'm dead. That's the short of it. I spent my money, used up my gas, and got to the end of my road. I've written all the pages I could. I hope that what follows is a great adventure. Maybe we'll all learn something. Maybe not. But if you got these pages in your hand, my ashes have been sent to the four directions, and I am amongst my ancestors. You see, I got a diagnosis again. This was the last one I'd get. The first was prostate bladder cancer. I was in my late 20s. I had suffered from kidney stones in such a frequency that my doctor referred me to a urologist. The urologist had done a cystoscopy, and if you ever had one, you know exactly the pain I'm talking about. You see, they go in through your urethra with a scope and check out your bladder. It's extremely painful and probably akin to giving birth to broken glass. He had found two small tumors, one on my bladder and one on my prostate. They were small enough they were able to remove them with the biopsy, but I did receive chemo for a couple of months to make sure they got it all. The second time I got the C word was in my lungs. My upper right lung had collapsed because a small cell tumor decided to camp out in my bronchus. I had the upper right lobe cut out, and the doctor was quite certain that he had removed it all. I didn't think I would make it through that one. The doctor had to fit a sleeve over the old blood vessel and splice it into the remaining blood vessel in my lower right lobe. It was right next to my heart, and he said that surgeries like this don't usually fare well, and if he sneezed or coughed, I would just bleed out on the table. I told him to take a Benadryl and a Halls before he did surgery on me. There was a violent storm that happened while I was under. It was localized to a 3-block radius of the hospital and a mile radius of the farmhouse I shared with Jean. But what was more interesting was the dream I had while I was under the knife. When I was growing up, Mom would talk about her childhood all the time. We didn't visit her reservation that much, so everything I learned about my heritage came from the tales my mother told me. She would tell me about visions my great grandfather would have and how they'd come true. I believed in her stories, but they became more fantastic the older I got. But here I was, drugged heavy and being sawed open, while my mind went elsewhere. I was walking across an open prairie. The sky was a turquoise blue, and the grass was tall and green, with the wind whipping it back and forth like giant ocean waves. There was a large tent or teepee sitting in the middle of this prairie. I made my way to it and realized there was no entrance as I made my way around the entire circumference of the structure. I tried to look under the hide they used for walls, but it was pulled taut and it would not fold. "You don't belong here yet," an old man said behind me. I could not see him, but I could tell he was ancient. "I want to come in," I spoke. You're not ready for the Star Lodge, broken bird. You still have much to do. Can't I just have a peek? You already have. You must go back, where the sky and the grass meet. I don't want to go back. It's too painful over there. Pain is the only way you learn, broken bird. I'm afraid there is much pain for you ahead. But don't worry. The Creator only gives you burdens you can carry. That sounds like a lot of bullshit. I was almost crying. The Ancient One laughed to himself. I was crawling on the ground looking for a way in. Get up, the old man said. I don't want to, I began to pout. And why do you keep calling me broken bird? Because that's what your ancestors have named you. You are a bird with a broken wing. You search for a place to call home. You search for your purpose. Because you are stubborn and because you are hard, you do not see that you are already where you need to be. Give me a break, old man. I just want to get into the teepee. Get up. Fuck that. Get up. I was awake, and the woman I had been living with, sharing my heart with, Jean was her name, was there to greet me in recovery. Ah, I said to her groggily, hey, beautiful. But we have since broken up. Maybe it was the whole possibility that I could get cancer again, or maybe this time around was just too much for her. I don't know. I never got an answer. And in any case, I moved out and moved to Omaha, Nebraska to take care of my mom. Mom was suffering from dementia, emphysema, and she frequently had mini strokes. So I spent 3 months with her to get her things in order and to plan her care. The problem was, I would end up planning her funeral instead. The night before she collapsed, we had the best conversation I think I've ever had with my mother in all my years. She was clear-headed, logical, and most importantly, she was there. Why are you so restless, my son? She asked with genuine concern in those green eyes of hers. I don't know, Ma. I honestly didn't. It was there in the back of my head, but I couldn't put words to it. Surviving the cancer. I don't understand why. We come from a long line of warriors. Of course you beat it. But why? Why did I survive? How many people out there who are better people than me died? They were going to do something with their lives. Look at me. I ain't done shit except for working, drinking, and keeping estranged from my kids. Everything is bullshit. My divorce, my job, my whole fucking life. I was getting angry, and tears were welling up in my eyes, which made me even angrier. I tried to do everything right, I continued. But no matter how hard I try, it still ends up like shit. So so why? Why did I have to come back to this fucking plane of existence? There's got to be someone else, some other cancer patient who's battling for their lives that deserves a second chance more than I do. Angry tears fell down my cheek, and sad ones fell down hers. It hurts my heart to hear you talk like that, my son, she said somberly. You have such a big heart. You're a caring soul. You're not even aware of the gifts that you bring into this life, or aware of the people who are affected by your existence. I'm sorry I hurt you, I said, but I just don't see it. Because you're angry. You are so angry that it cripples you. You're like a bird with a broken wing. You want to fly so badly, but you thrash around so much that your wing never heals. I suddenly remembered what the old man called me in my dream. Your anger blinds you, she finished. So I gathered my words. What do I do, Mom? Only you know that, son. Eventually, you won't need to take care of me anymore. You can go out there into the world and hopefully find yourself. The next morning, I woke up hearing a loud thump and found her gasping for air on the ground. She had pneumonia and had coughed a hole in her diseased lungs. This also caused her to bloat up with air, and the doctors had to intubate her. Son, she asked. She was scared like a little girl. What's happening? There were alarm bells and staff running all about. Mom, I said, trying to keep tears from falling because I didn't want her to be any more scared than she was. They're going to have to intubate you. They're going to put a tube down your throat to help you breathe. Please, don't let them do that to me. She squeezed my hand tight. Mama, I looked into those faded green eyes. You told me that if a situation like this ever happened, you gave me permission to do whatever it took to keep you alive. Will it be okay? Yes, I lied. And that was the last time I ever heard my mother speak. They restrained her hands so she wouldn't pull the tube out, and they kept her drugged. In her waking moments, she would write messages to me. I want ice cream. Where are my babies? I'm thirsty, were a few of her scribblings. Then it was a massive stroke, and this complicated everything. The doctor said she would not have a good quality of life, and he had recommended that I think about pulling the tube. I said I had to talk to my siblings about it. Then 2 weeks later, she passed on. It was a Friday, and the sky was bright blue. She got to go into the Star Lodge. Funny thing about poor people funerals. You pray there's enough insurance left to pay for everything, but there's barely enough to cover the cremation. Because you're poor, you get a plastic bag filled with what's left of your mom, and you always wonder, are these really her ashes? We had a small funeral. With the help of friends, we were able to throw a decent celebration of life for her. And my sister had some friends who cooked a bunch of food for everyone. None of Mom's relatives from the reservation had showed up, and that left a bitter taste in my mouth. But I was surprised to see my dad there. He and Mom didn't part ways in the best way, but he said he was there for us kids. The siblings all wanted a piece of Mom, so I bought some small plastic Ziploc baggies, the kind druggies use to hold meth, and divvied up little bits of Mom to those who wanted some. She always wanted to have her ashes scattered on the land where she was raised in South Dakota, so I figured I'd take the rest and scatter them for her. During the next few weeks, my siblings and I packed up all of Mom's stuff. We had an estate sale to sell what we could, and we gave away the rest. All the things found in boxes that were little pieces of our family history were being picked through or discarded like they were junk. I'd found an old box of my old stuff, things that I'd kept for whatever reason before I went off to college. There were photographs, a few old Star Wars action figures, cassette tapes, notebooks, and two things that had their own separate box. One was a tattered yellow old book titled On the Road by Jack Kerouac, one of my favorite books from my adolescence. I dreamed of one day tracing the trail of Sal Paradise and Dean Moriarty. The other was a VHS cassette of my favorite film, Easy Rider. I dreamed of being Wyatt, aka Captain America, and riding my custom hardtail chopper across the country, trying to find the spirit of America. It was partly this movie and the influence of my biker club uncle that got me riding motorcycles, much to the chagrin of my mother. I thought again about how great it would be just to travel across America, stopping from town to town, meeting interesting and not so interesting people, and maybe revisit the places we went as a family back in the day. I put the items back into the box and set it upstairs next to the spare bed I had been sleeping in since the whole incident. It was great to see my siblings again. We all lived so far apart, and I'm sure Mom would have liked to have seen all of her kids sleeping under her roof again. And maybe she did, somewhere up there. Jim was the oldest, married with 3 kids and living in Brooklyn. He and my older sister Della, who also lived in Brooklyn, were from Mom's previous marriage. Then there was Missy, my younger sister, and Stacy, the youngest. Missy lived in Omaha. Stacy lived in Clearwater, Florida. I had a dream again that night, but it wasn't just the ancient one standing there. Mom was there, and so was Wyatt and Sal Paradise. And I was on my bike. Decided to go? The old man spoke. Yep, I answered. Gonna try to fly. With a broken wing? I got my wings right here. I revved the engine of my bike. Mom came towards me with a smile on her face. She was young again, maybe around the age of 12. Her faded green eyes were bright like emeralds. She was thin with long, beautiful black hair. Fly, my boy, she said, and reached up and kissed me on the cheek. This part of the dream was hard to swallow because Mom hated me on a motorcycle. Maybe she was indifferent now that she was younger, or maybe because she was dead. I kicked my bike off the stand, tipped the toe of my worn leather boots to shift into first. The transmission clicked, and I rode off into consciousness. I think I'm going to read chapter 2. You guys want to hear chapter 2? I didn't think I would go so quick with that one. Let's see what do we got here. Yeah, chapter 2 is pretty short, so we'll go into chapter 2. All right. Let's see. Chapter 2. So, I guess that brings me here at Minnesota Oncology. Just got the worst news I could probably ever get. Stage 4 lymphoma. I'm pretty much toast. My dad was in the waiting room. I had no idea he was here, but he was pacing near the coffee pot, my stepmother alongside him. Dad? I said, surprised. What are you doing here? I'd never seen that kind of concern in his eyes before. Maybe I was just too blinded by the cruel stories my mom told me growing up about him. One sided stories that ex spouses tell of their ex partners. But his ice blue eyes were watery, and that thick brow was curled in concern. "What did the doctor say?" he asked. I didn't know how to answer that. "You tell your dad you're going to die? That my expiration date reads 1 year from today? Or do you use some cute little euphemism to make it look like a happy little rainbow unicorn package?" I just hugged my dad. I could smell that familiar scent of Old Spice he had worn since the 70s. He wasn't a hugger, and the tight embrace he gave me let me know that he was not ready to say goodbye to his only son. With that, I bawled my eyes out, snot and tears drenching my dad's shirt. Now, my dad doesn't cry, but when he does, he sobs. He's like me, or I guess you'd say I'm like him. The tears rarely come, but when they do, grab a life jacket. Together, we flooded the waiting room with our tears. "Can't they do chemo?" my stepmother asked. "Or something? Some type of treatment?" "They can," I said, "but it's not guaranteed. They can take my T cells and send them to the university and jumpstart them with like steroids or something, then reintroduce them to my body and hope they fight the good fight." The doctor was pretty clear on his prognosis. If I have less than a year, I don't want to spend it sick from chemotherapy. "What about the cancer centers in Chicago?" Dad spoke up. "They try radical treatments." "I know, Pops," I said, giving him a grin. "But I'm done fighting." "So I'm just supposed to watch you die?" "No. No one is going to watch me die. I'm going on I'm going to go on a road trip." "A road trip? Are you fucking nuts?" "Maybe a little, but I need to do this, Pop." "Where are you going?" "I'm going to hop on my bike and head out to the West Coast for a while. And then I'm off to the East Coast, and then hopefully back home." "Where are you getting the money for that?" "Gonna sell all my shit, and if I run out, I'll work odd jobs to get me by." My dad sighed. That was Dad's reaction of disapproval. "I don't have a lot of time, Dad. I gotta make the best of what I got." And he started to cry again. I thought back to all the mean things that man had done in my life. I thought back to all the arguments and physical fights he and I had. Don't get me wrong, I was a prick when I was a kid. Deserved most of the beatings I got. But none of that mattered to me anymore. It was irrelevant. This man was mourning his son prematurely. "Your mother would be freaking out on you right now," he said finally. "Yeah, she would," I agreed. "But she's not here. It's just us, Pops." Now, I know you must be thinking, if you got a snowball's chance in hell of making it out of this shit, why aren't you taking it? The answer, the only answer I can come up with, to make someone who isn't wearing my shoes, or boots for that matter, understand is this. Treatment treatment for the shit and disease is rough. Chemotherapy is designed to do one thing: kill your cells. It doesn't discriminate on cancer cells or healthy cells. It just takes it all. In a sense, tries to kill me. Of course, There are radical treatments all over the world, but I'm poor. I think about the quality of life I would have, if any. Is it worth it? I've made it through cancer twice. Can't always be lucky. I don't want to fight all the way just to end up dying. I'd rather do what I want, do what I enjoy, and die with a smile on my face, if that's possible. Besides, ain't nobody gonna give a shit about an Indian from some speck of dust res dying of cancer. Except maybe my family and a few friends. Maybe you, the person holding these pages in your hands. Maybe you care too. But if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, there's no casino on my res. If you're reading this book, it's because you're family or a close friend, or maybe someone I met on the road. Probably won't make a fortune for my heirs on this journal. People rather would rather read about sparkly vampires or executives with sex dungeons. But if I do make some money, maybe send it to my kids. About the only thing good I could ever do for them. A week later, my things sold, my essentials in a pack, strapped to the back of my bike. I was ready to hit the open road. I called my siblings and let them know the news. There were tears and speculation about my decision to ride the roads like my literary and cinematic heroes, but I had promised to stop at their respective homes when I passed through. Something about my siblings. I'm the black sheep. I was called the over emotional one. Huh. Witness the fucked up things I did and tell me how you survived that. Anyhow, I had tried a couple of times to get the siblings together, and one thing or another always came up. And I gave up trying, and we stopped visiting. I mean, nobody came to see me the last time I almost died, so why is this time a big deal? Right? I pulled the map from my pack and I looked over my route. I wanted to head west from here to in Minneapolis, take a ride through the Black Hills and then through to Seattle. Hug that Pacific Coast Highway all the way down to Tijuana, or at least Joshua Tree, then east to Florida and up the East Coast. I heard a familiar rumble behind me. It was my dad on his decked out Harley trike. He revved it twice and he shut the motor off. Hey, Pops. I was genuinely happy to see him. Here to see me off? Kinda, he said, taking his helmet off. Thought I'd ride with you for a while. Yeah? You always wanted to do a road trip together. I I did. You don't want to go all the way? He laughed. Nah, I'm too old for that stuff. But I'll ride with you for the beginning of your ride. Man, I'd love that, Pops. Me and the old man, well, we had bad blood between each other when I was a younger fellow. Not sure where it all came from. Maybe because I was a mama's boy and always took her side on things. Could be because I always visited with her after the divorce and rarely ever visited him. I was a shit ass as a youth. Got into drugs, fights, burglary, all that stuff. Some of the things I took, some of the hidings I took, I deserved. Some of them, not so much. My stepmama tried her best to bring me and the old man together, but we're both stubborn, and we're both carrying around a lot of anger. It took cancer to build that bridge, so I guess there's one thing about it, one good thing. Dad put all those shitty things we had between us and took the high ground, and opened his heart back up to me. So we started our bikes, both of them loud and angry sounding, and we hit the highway. Just a boy and his dad. All right. I'm going to stop there for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Um that's oof, there's some tough things in there to read to you guys, but yeah. Um I hope you guys liked it. Oh, Jesus. Beat myself up with my equipment. Anyhow, yeah, let me know in the comments or message me what you liked about the story, what you didn't like about the story, yada yada yada. I'm gonna be doing this every Tuesday, and if the chapters are as short as they are, then I guess I might read two chapters every Tuesday. So we'll see how that goes. It was awesome. Touched the feels. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it did. It was touching my feels pretty bad. So, um, anyhow, thank you guys very much for letting me share this with you. Thank you for joining me. This is huge. Um, I know it's not the normal scary stuff that you're used to coming hearing coming out of my mouth, but yeah, this is a little something different. Loved it, man. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, you bet. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you liked it. Um, yeah, so I've been trying to find workarounds on in getting everybody I possibly can invited to these readings, and I think I was able to invite everybody on my friends list, so that was pretty cool. Um, so if you guys really enjoyed it and you know of other people that would enjoy this story as well, please invite them to come out and check it out. We're gonna do this every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, and then we'll call it Tuesday Tales Presents. I can be honest, it touched my heart and made me bawl. Oh, oh, thanks, Jessica. There was a lot of emotions in those first two chapters. Yeah, yeah, I had to set the tone, um, and I'm glad I said it. There are good and happy parts of this book, because it's a he's got to go through a kind of a healing journey, so um, got to beat him up a little bit first. So yeah, but I'll tell you the truth. When I first started writing this book, I had gone through therapy for a few years, and I was like, oh, everything's cool, and so like I was going through and writing out the character and everything, and then I'm like, wait a minute, he sounds way too healthy. We got to get him. We got to get him some. We got to bring him down a little bit. He's got to get beat up. Thank you for the stars, Bobby. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, we got to beat him up a little bit. So I had to rewrite the first. I think it was 5 6 chapters. I had to rewrite them because he was handling things like way too healthy, and I needed him to be a little angry. And well, I had him had he had to be me from like 1990, I think. And so I did drink quite a bit, writing some of this book, and I played a lot of really depressing music. Um, I am going to try very hard to do all of my chapter promos with the White Buffalo. He's an artist. You've heard me talk about him before on my tunes for Tuesdays. I've performed a few songs of his for you guys. That guy just speaks to my fucking heart. Like, holy shit. Some of his songs have drawn tears from me. So, um, I've I've put a lot of his. I'm putting a lot of his songs as a backtrack for some of the previews for Tuesday Tales or Tales on Tuesday Tales. Yeah, Tuesday Tales. Jeez, I gotta get this right. All these shows I keep changing. So anyway, yeah. So it'd be nice if I could gain his attention on some of this because it's just like, dude, you wrote Broken Bird's theme song. So anyhow, he helped out a lot with getting the right mindset for Broken Bird. And so there you have it. There's your introduction to Broken Bird. I hope you stay with me on his journey down the road. He meets some pretty cool people and some pretty not so cool people. So along the way. But anyhow, join Bobby and myself this Thursday for Toe Tapping Thursday, and maybe it'll be I don't know, maybe it'll be a white buffalo night. Who knows? Who knows? So so the character of this story, Broken Bird, he is he's Native American. If you haven't gathered that, he is from a fictitious tribe, um, and a fictitious reservation that's set in the Badlands, called the Weta Reservation. And the reason I did that is because I am planning on working on another book uh, about about Maoris, and I didn't want to write about Maoris this time, so I wanted to change it from being a Maori to being Native American, First Nations people, and because I'm not, and there's gonna be Christmas tunes soon enough, Kevin. You just hold on to your jingle bells. Um, because I'm not Native American, that's why he is kind of not connected with his heritage as much as he should be, or he's faded away from it. So, anyhow, he'll get closer to that as the book goes on. But you guys have to stick around and listen to the rest of the story to know what happens with our dear broken bird. So, anyhow, thank you guys very much. Join us again Thursday night. Me and Bobby. Yeah, hang on to your jingle bells, not Bobby, but Kevin. All right. All right, you guys, thank you very much. I'm going to get all this stuff put into YouTube, and then I am heading home because I'm tired. I walked from Gaylord to Winthrop today. That was not fun. Anyhow, all right. Peace. Mwah. Love you guys. And a bottle of hair grease. Right. That's like, let me shut it off here. Where are you? There we go. Ending video. Video is ending. Badoom.